Research has revealed that the Lower Paleolithic period was not confined to the banks of the Nile, but extended into the deserts that embrace this great river. There is no better evidence of this than the tools found by Richard, the father, in the petrified forests east of present-day Cairo. Their presence in this location was what prompted him to develop this idea. Then came the research of the scientist, who was tasked with determining the extent of the natural primary industries of that era. When Schweinfurt was exploring the desert to explore the area, he sent a mission to the Loubiya. Indeed, on his way from Luxor to the Kharga Oasis and then from Kharga to Araba, he encountered several surface factories. He also discovered ancient roads that extended from the Nile to the oases. He noticed a general rule: at every obstacle, that is, at every point where the caravan route crossed a steep plateau, there was a station from the Lower Paleolithic period. The director of the Antiquities Service, Henri de Morgan, made a trip on the same trip. He also made the same observations in the valleys that connect Esna to Karkour Oasis. We must not fail to mention here the numerous factories Schweinfurt discovered before the start of the Great War at Abu al-Hajjaj, which runs along the Nile north of Aswan. These factories manufactured tools from Nubian stone. In recent years, a number of scholars have systematically examined the oases. The expedition led by Prince Kamal al-Din Hussein found tools of Chilean and Achillean manufacture on the plateaus extending west of the oases, and these can even be seen in the heart of the desert. These surface stations, however useful, have yielded little results for the meticulous researcher. Although it revealed to us the presence of Paleolithic man and his habitation in Egypt, it revealed nothing about his industry and its progression towards sophistication. It is noteworthy that these places, chosen by early humans close to water and fertile areas rich in plants and abundant game, were sometimes inhabited by indigenous tribes for centuries until a time came when they were forced to migrate. For this reason, we find on the surface of the earth tools mixed together and stone weapons left behind by inhabitants who were often peoples of different cultures. It is not easy to find places where no such mixing occurred. A station of this latter type was found in the Schweinfurt region, which was fortunate for the researcher in Cana. For a long time, scientists have been searching for sediments that conceal within their depths the oldest machines made by natural man. Fortunately, these machines were arranged according to their antiquity in geological layers, one above the other. Some scientists, such as de Morgan, had tried to reach this point before his death, but they were unsuccessful. A few months later, fortune blessed the scientist, who found sediments layered one above the other, resolving the problem once and for all. These sediments were present, but it was necessary to search for them in their original locations. This could only be achieved deep underground, at the mouth of an ancient river. There, the waters would stand in the way of their course, leaving behind their sediments that could not be carried further. It was only natural for these sediments to accumulate throughout the Lower Paleolithic period, preserving in their layers, one above the other, the remains of contemporary industries in each layer. These lands were level at the beginning of the delta and on its edge, where the current silt could not cover them after the waters had receded and dried up in the early Paleolithic period. Thus, the small Abbasia plain remained untouched, far from the effects of the flood. This plain extends from the foot of the ancient Nile Plateau, located northeast of Cairo, taking sand and gravel from it for the buildings of the present day. City of Cairo facilitated the excavation of this desert strip to a great depth of about 30 meters or more. This also facilitated the study of the area and its strata. Indeed, Nile sediments were found there with an average thickness of 10 meters. Among the gravel were tools that demonstrate the historical succession of Paleolithic industries. Chilean and then Acheulean tools were found, one on top of the other, mixed with some remains of contemporary animals. These tools were found clearly, separate from Mysterian tools, which are found only on the surface of the plain. This result was verified by research conducted by the University of Chicago, commissioned them to conduct a general research project in the archaeological sites of Karkour and Schweinfurt, both of which are located in the Nile Valley and its dependencies. They conducted systematic research in the sediments of the highlands of the Cana Valley and the Fime Depression. The research was productive, particularly in the areas of Wadi Cana and the Fime Depression. The research was particularly successful, as he collected a collection of beautiful tools. There, Lower Paleolithic tools were found in their original location in the Pleistocene deposits. Other artifacts were also found, ranging from the Schelian to the Mysterian, some clearly separated from each other on the highlands, whose depths range from approximately 35 to 5 meters on both sides of the valley. Let's now go and learn about the Middle Paleolithic. Our knowledge of Mysterian man in Europe, more than of the humans of the preceding period, is due to natural factors that greatly altered his lifestyle. Temperatures, which were high during the Chilean period, began to decrease in the following period, as evidenced by the abundance of Achilles deposits containing the remains of a large, hairy elephant, known as the mammoth, which no longer lives in cold weather. With the end of the Lower Paleolithic, the era of glacial retreat also ended. The Middle Paleolithic coincides with a long glacial period that extended into the Upper Paleolithic. During this period, animals with thick skin began to retreat southward, gradually giving way to other mammals that migrated from the northern lands. Only the mammoth and the rhinoceros, with their proboscis, remained. During this period, humans began to abandon outdoor living and take shelter either under rocks or in deep caves, which they shared with hyenas and cave bears. He was the first to inhabit it. His hearth was set up in the space in front of the entrance to his cave or at the door of the cave itself. There, his remains and cemetery were found mixed with the remains of his tools. These remains later formed piles of sediment, cemented together by filtration and mixed with limestone. In these piles, the bones of animals hunted by humans were gathered with the tools of the hyenas. These mounds were in fact unwritten records, and through them the historian can determine the degree of advancement or decline in industry from one level to another among the strata, some of which were placed on top of others in historical order. He can also arrange the animals of this era according to their historical antiquity. Even greater than this is that Mysterian man was buried in these same caves, along with his jewelry and weapons, and was equipped with what he would need in his afterlife. Complete human skeletons have been found and scientifically studied. There is no doubt that the systematic excavations carried out in these cemeteries, inhabited by humans for long periods, enabled scientists to establish a foundation for the history of the industries that followed, from the Mysterian period to the Neolithic. Clear changes have been evident in the art of metalworking, for we find that the pen, which the Acheulean man mastered to a great degree, began to decline greatly during the era of Mysterian man. As its size diminished to a very small size, this was a sign of its neglect. The tool specific to this era was a triangular, sharp-edged sliver of thorn, cut by the craftsman from a stone core. It was carefully prepared for this purpose in a manner requiring great skill. Historians have called this tool the tortoiseshell because of its close resemblance to this shape. These sharp tools served as arrows, which the warrior would attach to the end of his spear. Other slivers were also made, used as scissors, shears, or saws for his daily needs. However, all of these tools only sharpened one side, usually the upper side. However, sharpening both sides continued to be used, conversely, for some discs with a sharp edge, which were used as slingshots. Mysterian civilization, like its predecessor, spread throughout North Africa and was found in Asia. Several pieces of evidence have been found to prove this. While we find apparent unity in climate and industry in the Acheulean-Chilean period on both shores of the inland sea, we also find that a difference emerged between European Mysterians and their counterparts in Africa. Indeed, traces of glacial expansion have been found in the Atlas Mountains of Ethiopia, and sediments found in caves in Algeria indicate that they were used. On the other hand, general observations by scientists indicate that the cold weather, which was quite palpable in Europe during the Middle Paleolithic, was much less prevalent in Africa. This is because the low African mountains did not support the formation of ice to the same extent as in Central Europe.